Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Scholastic Shelf Talk. Today I have a very special guest with me. It's none other than multiple award-winning author and illustrator, Ruth Paul! Hello and welcome to the show, Ruth.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here and very surprising to be here.
Why is that?
It's the other side of the world, you know. I'm from New Zealand and it's a very long way away. Mm-hmm. So I was invited over to do Bukaroo, which was extraordinary and really enjoyable. And then I've met all you amazing Scholastic people. So I normally know the New Zealand Scholastic people and the Australian Scholastic people, as I have books with them, but not with India. So how exciting to be here.
Yes, well, which brings me to the question right away. Are you doing a book for Scholastic India? If not are, when?
I think we have yet to discuss that.
Excellent.
Yes. I'll get my people to talk to your people.
Excellent.
And we'll do some major...
Excellent.
Yeah. Of course, it all depends on the massive amount of money that you're going to pay me.
Yes, of course. Yes.
No.
We will try our best.
I would love to. I would love to. And you know something I have noticed, I noticed it at Bukaroo, was that your books sell for a lot less than our books sell for in New Zealand. And I think it's because they're more accessible to children. They're obviously put into shops at a price that families and children can afford to buy them. Yes. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
So, Ruth, tell us some more about your books and what kind of illustrations and what kind of writing do you do?
Oh, okay. So I largely illustrate and write for people probably under the age of 9. And some of my books are for very young children, maybe 2, 3, 4. But it's just, I started illustrating first and then I came to writing through illustration. But my background is that I have a degree in English and history, and I also did a visual communications design course for 3 years, and I studied design and illustration. And I've also done a bit of costume illustration for a friend of mine who's a designer. And it's just a lovely combination being able to both write and illustrate a story and have it come together in the form of a book, which is just a brilliant little product, a book, you know? It's a lovely encapsulated way of sharing a world with somebody else.
It's a rare thing, isn't it, when writers are illustrators and illustrators are writers.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often. So what kind of that gives you a lot of creative control, doesn't it?
It does. And I think one of the things I like is that if I'm illustrating somebody else's work, there's a chance that I'll disappoint them. There's a chance that I'll do the drawings in a way which wasn't the way that they imagined it. Thank goodness there's usually the editor and the publishers negotiating between the two people. But if I do it myself, if I illustrate for a story that I've written, sometimes I can change the words to fit the pictures, sometimes I can move the pictures to fit the words, and ultimately it's only myself that I have to live up to or to let down, and the publishers, of course.
Yes, that's important.
So yeah, it's possibly more satisfying doing both.
Okay, excellent. Could you tell us about how you approach a project? Like when you wake up in the morning, how much time do you spend thinking and writing and illustrating, or what's your day like?
All the time. I think if you're a writer, you're always going over ideas. When you're driving in the car, when you're walking through the bush, whatever you're doing, you're thinking of story ideas, and you're just waiting for one to come along and sort of go, you know, ping its way in there. But my day generally starts with me trying to put the pillow back over my head and stay in bed for as long as I can, which I can't. Because often I find lying in bed with your eyes shut is the best place to have an idea or to think through a story. You know, once I'm up and I've got all these jobs and I'm washing dishes and I'm sorting out work, my brain is full of other things, so I love lying in bed. My husband doesn't believe I'm working. I lie there and say, I am working. But then I go out to my studio, which is a messy little room off my garage, and my dog comes with me. And I have both a drawing desk and lots of paint and pencils and mess, but I also have my Cintiq drawing tablet, so I draw into a Cintiq sometimes. basically I work in lots of different mediums, and I have them all out there in my studio, and I like that I can shut the door when I leave to go and do something else, because I shut the idea and the work away, because sometimes it drives you mad. You know, sometimes when you're thinking of a story and working on a story, it won't leave you alone. So I like to be able to shut the door.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit more about how many books you've written and how many you've illustrated, how it all started? I know you started about 15 or 20 years ago.
Yeah. So I've written possibly about 21 books now, I think. But some of them, you know, I have 3 that are still coming out. And I have worked with 3 or 4 different publishers during that time. I have done a lot with Scholastic. They're wonderful in New Zealand, can I just say that? Hi Penny, hi Lynette. And I started when my older son was about 2. I started writing my own stories, because I'd been a commercial illustrator. So I studied, like I said, visual communications design. And then I used to do things like airbrush toothpaste tube packets, you know.
Wow.
Well, you know, like you do graphics for pickle jars or posters or annual reports.
Call it craft.
The craft, yeah. I did a lot of that, and then eventually just segued. I illustrated picture books for a couple of other writers, and then I started writing my own.
So you've been doing a lot of school visits in Delhi as part of Bookaroo and post Bookaroo. Any interesting experiences? What advice do you have? Anything
Yes,
cool?
Actually today I've been to quite a few schools, and it's been so interesting and so fantastic to meet the students. But today I think I got the best question I've ever had at a school visit pretty much the whole time I've been doing this. And it was, I think it was Tagore International School, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
That is right.
But a girl asked me, of all my picture books that I've made, is there one that I would like to be inside of and to live in? Is there one of my books that I would like to, does that make sense? Live inside of? I thought it was such a cool question, because I was going, I don't really want to live with dinosaurs, and I had to really think about it. And in the end I chose this book, where I could be in bed, in a great big bed on the ocean, as if it were a boat and there were dangerous things in the water, but I would be warm and safe in bed. But I thought it's a really interesting idea for writing, to start with what world would you like to inhabit, what world would you like to be in? And you can create that world through writing, and you can also create it through the images. You know, what colours do you want to live in amongst? What style of world would you live in? How would it look? So I just thought it was a wonderful question, even for starting a story, to think about living inside that world.
Wow, that's mind-blowing.
Well, clearly you've got some very smart students here.
Yeah, we're Indian.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Do you have any message for our young readers and teachers and parents in India?
It's kind of a big ask, but yes. As it happens, I think learning to read, the ability to read and put yourself into the shoes of another person or another character, to see the world through someone else's eyes, which books give you the chance to do. I think that's an incredibly important, understanding to have of the world. And I particularly think picture books help children read through the images. They read the pictures as much as they read the words. So it doesn't matter that they can't necessarily read all the words exactly right, because they're reading the pictures, and when they turn the page they're imagining what's happening in between those 2 pages, and they're reading just as much as if they were sounding out the words and reading the words. So I encourage everybody to start with picture books and just enjoy them. And don't worry if your children aren't reading properly. They'll be looking, and they'll be learning, and they'll be picking up the story.
Ruth Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you.